Former President Trump's biggest Republican challenger has now dropped out of the race for the White House. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced over the weekend he's suspending his campaign, but you will still see his name on Washington primary ballots coming up in March.
Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Chris Christie. These are the Republican presidential candidates that Washington voters will see on the primary ballot coming up in March. The problem is only 2 of those candidates are actually still in the running. The director of elections for the Washington Secretary of State's office, Stuart Holmes, says once the ballots are set, the state is not allowed to make changes.
The ballots will contain all 5 candidates. If voters vote for them, those will be counted.
The state is required to list the candidates offered up by the Republican and Democratic parties.
January 9th was the deadline for political parties to submit the list of candidates they wanted to appear on the ballot.
But on January 10th, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie ended his latest campaign after a hot mic moment caught criticizing former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Days later, tech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out, saying he's supporting former President Trump instead. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis bowed out on Sunday with a similar message.
It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear.
There were legal efforts to get former President Trump forcefully taken off the primary ballot in Washington, but 2 judges dismissed those challenges last week. State officials say they're effectively running the primary on behalf of the major political parties, but the state will hand over those results to the parties themselves for a final decision at the national level.
If the voters cast a ballot for one of those dropped out candidates, it will still be counted and provided to the party for their nominating process, and they will choose to use that to whatever degree they'd like at the party.
Washington's presidential primary is coming up on March 12th. Those ballots will be mailed out in late February. Now, you don't have to announce your party affiliation when you register to vote, but you will have to select Republican or Democrat when you fill out the primary ballot. Again, the political parties will use the results of Washington's primary to help determine which candidate to nominate for the general election, which is coming up in November.